Hello everyone, welcome back to Life Technologies YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching and supporting our content. So this is another episode of our Huawei Lab simulation series. Remember, in this series we demonstrate to you how to configure and troubleshoot different networking protocols or different networking technologies on Huawei routing and switching devices. So if you were interested in learning how to configure and troubleshoot and manage Huawei routing and switching devices, kindly check out our previous episodes on this series. So in this episode, we'll be demonstrating to you how to troubleshoot ISIS adjacencies on Huawei routing devices. So we have different scenarios. We have different reasons that can cause ISIS adjacency to fail to come up. So you've prepared your script, you've configured your routers, but again, the adjacency fails to come up. How do you go about troubleshooting this adjacency? So you need to perform some basic and advanced checks to ensure that you are able to bring up the adjacency between the two routers. Remember, when the adjacency is not up or established, the two routers will not be able to exchange the routing information. So the adjacency should be up before we can start exchanging the routes between the two routers. That's why it's very important to ensure that you do proper configurations on the routers, and if it fails to come up, you also need to be able to do some checks, both basic and advanced checks, to ensure that you are able to fix the issue and the ISIS adjacency comes up. So this is the topology that we are using, 6 routers, R1 to R6. So we'll be starting by checking the adjacency between R4 and R6. So you've configured ISIS on the two routers, display current configuration ISIS. You have ISIS configured, display ISIS interface. You also have ISIS activated on the interfaces. On R6, we have the same, display current configuration ISIS, display ISIS interface. You also have ISIS activated on the interface. But when we check display ISIS peer, we realize that on R6 we only have one peer to R5. So we need to check why the peering between R4 and R6 is not coming up. So we check the interface configurations, display current configuration. You can see that the interfaces are well configured, the interfaces are up. If I display interface brief, you can see that the interfaces are up, both physical and protocol level. On R4, display interface brief, the interfaces are up, both physical and protocol. So when you first start troubleshooting ISIS adjacency, you need to ensure that you have connectivity between the two devices. So the first thing that we need to perform is to ensure that we have IP connectivity, and this one we can do it using the ping command. So on R4, if I display IP interface brief, I'll start by pinging the local IP. So 10.10.10.12. Can see that we are able to ping this IP. We go ahead and perform a ping 10.10.10.13. You realize that we are not able to ping the far end IP. So whenever we don't have connectivity between the two devices, ISIS protocol will not come up. So we need to check what could be the issue. So we check on R6 display IP interface brief. Interface brief, you realize that on gig 002 we have 10.10.10.3 instead of 10.10.13. So we need to correct this and test connectivity. IP address 10.10.10.3.13, mask is 31. Display this. Then we check display ISIS peer. So now we have appearing between R6 and R4 because we have corrected the wrong IP that was configured on 6. So these are very common scenario. Whenever you are doing ISIS configuration, always do the physical, from the physical checks. Once you've done the physical checks, you need to go ahead and check the interface configuration. Do we have connectivity between the two routers through the back-to-back connection? If you have the connectivity between the two routers, then the ISIS will come up, or if there is any other problem, you can still continue to troubleshoot other issues that could be preventing the ISIS adjacency from coming up. So once we have corrected the interface, the ISIS it's up, display ISIS peer, and we can also check the ISIS errors, display ISIS error. So when you check the ISIS error, you can see that there was some errors coming in of unusable IP address. So we have an IP address configured, but it's not usable because there is no connectivity between the two devices. One thing I can do is, if I return back this IP address to 10.10.10.3, mask is 31, let's see whether these errors will increase. So if I display ISIS peer, the adjacency has gone down again, display ISIS error. You can see the packets are increasing. The unusable IP address packets are increasing. 48, we have 49. So you see that yes, you can use the display ISIS error command and it will easily tell you where you could be having issues. Another thing is when you configure a duplicate IP. So if I were to configure an IP address of 10.10.10.12, mask is 31, the adjacency will still not come up. We still only have one adjacency to R5. And now if I display ISIS error, you can see that we have repeated IPv4 address error increasing on this router. So whenever you run the command, we expect the errors to increase. You can see that for now we have 3. And now there are 4. So I need to change this IP to the correct IP address 10.10.10.13, mask is 31, display this, display ISIS peer. So we have an adjacency, and the adjacency is now established between R4 and R6. So this is the most basic check that you need to start with. Always ensure that you have connectivity between the two nodes. Use a ping command to ensure that you can ping from the near end to the far end, and you can also ping the local IPs. Once you can ping the local IP, it ensures that your connectivity is okay, and now you can do, or you can go ahead and carry out further checks on why the adjacency is failing to come up. So this is the first reason: a wrong IP address configured or a duplicate IP address configured. Thank you for watching this session, and see you in our next episode, where we'll be discussing other reasons that could be causing adjacency to fail to come up. And please, just a reminder that if you haven't subscribed to our channel, kindly hit that subscribe button and stay tuned in for more upcoming videos. Thank you, and see you in our next episode. Bye.